Hi there, it's Bev, and it's been a couple of weeks since I made a video. We've been away cruising in the Caribbean, and I want to chat to you this morning about what it's like being diagnosed with ADHD at the ripe old age of 56. So I've had 2 weeks since the diagnosis to really come to terms with it, and I just wanted to share in this quick video the process of the diagnosis, how I feel about the diagnosis, and what I'm going to do next about the ADHD now that I have my diagnosis. But it's a beautiful winter's day, a January day. Oh, it's February. Beautiful February day. You see, I've lost 2 weeks. Beautiful February day. It's cool, crisp and bright, and I've just come into the woods. We've got these wonderful bournewoods right on our doorstep. So I've come out for a walk and a bit of fresh air, and I will talk to you in just a moment. Well, I cannot think of a better place to stop and sit and chat to you than on this bench in the woods. It is such a beautiful sunny day. So, as I started to tell you, at the age of 56, I was diagnosed with ADHD. Now, I'd suspected for quite some time, probably about 18 months. Even did a TEDx talk called ADHD in Menopausal Women. But at the point of doing the TEDx last September 22, I was undiagnosed, and I was still uncertain whether a diagnosis was really the right route for me or not. But in the end, I thought, I think I need that validation. I need somebody to confirm not only that there is a reason for why I do things the way I do, but also almost permission to let myself off the hook for some of the things that I don't do so well, that I have a tendency to really beat myself up about. So I decided to go privately. I'm quite fortunate I could afford to do that. I know that's not an option that's open to everybody, but at the age of 56, the idea of waiting 2.5 years or whatever for a referral on the National Health Service didn't appeal. So I thought, I'm going to make the decision to go privately. So I went with a company called ADHD 360, a UK-based company. I think they're based in the Northwest. And even that took about 5 months to get an appointment. And I had my appointment on Friday the 13th. I don't know if that's significant. I had it on Friday the 13th of January with a lovely man called Carl. And we had about an hour and a half on a Skype call, video Skype call. And it was nowhere near as scary as I thought it would be. I was very stressed about it. I had visions of getting incredibly emotional, feeling like I was being interrogated. I had feelings that, I imagined I was going to be they were going to try and trip me up, and Carl didn't do that at all. He was superb. He was lovely. He made me immediately feel at ease, and it was just a conversation about my life, really. I guess because of the way he handled the conversation with such compassion, it felt like a very safe space, but it felt like I was able to really open up about some of the difficulties that I've had through my life. We dug quite deeply into my childhood, and I was really worried because, quite honestly, I know some people can remember right back to primary school and beyond. My memories of childhood probably start around 8 or 9. I don't have much of a memory of anything before that. So I was a bit concerned they were going to ask me a lot about my very young childhood, and they didn't. They started from about the age of 9. Now, ADHD is a lifelong condition. It's a brain developmental condition that results in certain neurotransmitters, namely dopamine and noradrenaline, not firing as efficiently as they should. So basically it means that we don't get that dopamine hit that most people get just to do the basic, almost sort of mundane things in life. We just don't have enough of it. So it makes doing the boring stuff, I guess, quite difficult, to the point of sometimes being almost impossible, which of course throughout your life, if you've always avoided the difficult stuff because you can't be bothered or it's not interesting, you end up thinking that you're just downright lazy. So it was quite interesting to have that diagnosis explaining that actually there's a chemical thing going on that means that it is difficult to motivate to do things that you don't want to do because the brain isn't giving you the signals to get up and do them. So I was glad I had the diagnosis. I have to say, at the end of it, I was emotionally drained. It was an hour and a half. It was weird. It felt very quick in some ways and it felt very long in others. And at the end of the call, I put the call down and I just sobbed. And I sobbed and I sobbed, and it was out loud, sort of real sort of vocal retching sobs, and I just couldn't stop. And it must have been all the emotion that I'd had over the last couple of years, sort of coming to terms with the fact that my brain doesn't work the same way as many other people's does. I think that had all kind of built up in me, and it just all came flooding out. Now, we did discuss medication on the call, but I wasn't ready at that stage to make a decision about whether medicating was the right option for me or not. And I was about to head off on a 2-week holiday on a lovely cruise around the Caribbean, where I knew I would have very limited internet access. I knew I'd have lots of time to think and ponder, which is exactly what happened. And it would give me a bit of breathing space to be able to come back and decide whether medication was the right thing or not for me. Now, medication for ADHD, there are a number of different types of medication. They kind of all work in a similar way from what I think I've researched and from what I think I understand. There are sort of amphetamine-based drugs and some other drugs with names that I just cannot pronounce. And the idea of taking amphetamines, if I'm honest, scared me quite a lot. But I've done lots of research, I've done lots of reading, I've watched lots of YouTubers telling me how they've experienced medication, and I've come back and I've made the decision that I am going to give it a go. I cannot, at the minute, understand how a drug can make me think differently. I can't understand how medication is going to work, but all of the videos I've watched and all of the people that I've spoken to have said it's made a difference in a positive way, so I'm definitely going to give it a try. I don't know what to expect, if I'm honest. I don't think I'm expecting to suddenly be the most organised and the most efficient and the most motivated person in the world, but if it just helps me to slow down some of the thoughts in my head. I was thinking the other day, waiting to go to sleep, which I am struggling with at the minute, just trying to get to sleep. I don't know how much of that is jet lag or how much is a bit of sort of the ADHD thoughts going through my mind, or how much of it is just me. But I am struggling a little bit to sleep, and as I was trying to get to sleep, I realised I had probably 6 or 7 different stories going on in my head at the same time. I was having all these consecutive thoughts, and it's so normal for me. I don't think I ever realised that that's not normal. I said to my husband, do you ever have times when you just don't think about things? And he said, yes. And I couldn't get my head around how you could have a brain that wasn't constantly thinking. Now, when you've only had one brain and it's only ever worked one way, it's very hard to know how it could possibly work a different way. It's hard to understand how somebody else's brain could work a different way. So it'll be interesting to try the meds and see what difference it makes. I don't have any, I'm trying to avoid having any preconceptions. I'm trying to keep an open mind and see how it goes. So I've got an appointment with my therapist or clinician on Thursday this week, so in 3 days' time, to discuss options, and then I'm guessing we'll go through a process of trial and error, trying different dosages, different types of ADHD medication until we get that right. I think they call it titration. Apparently this is quite a well-known word in the medical world. I'd never come across it, but they titrate until they get the medication optimized for the individual. So we'll see how that goes. I'm quite excited to get started, and as I say, I'm going to try and keep an open mind. One of the things my holiday has definitely made me realise is I think probably in the midst of burnout. I've had quite a bit of struggle in the last, good morning, quite a bit of struggle over the last few months with mental and physical exhaustion, lack of motivation, just feeling like I'd lost my mojo. And reading up on burnout, I know about burnout, but knowing something and recognising it in yourself isn't always the same thing. But I think one of the things my holiday has made me realise is that I was probably either heading towards or maybe even right in the thick of burnout. So I've come back off holiday with the intention of taking giving my health a higher priority. There were a few things on holiday that I realised were making me feel really unfit and old. Now I know that my fitness has gone downhill in the last few years, but it became very apparent on holiday. Things like walking. I've never had a problem with walking, but I was getting tired much quicker than I felt I should be. And my ankles, it could be the heat, but I am overweight, and my ankles were swelling. and it was making movement quite difficult. We loved dancing, so we did a lot of dancing on the cruise ship, and having swollen ankles and sore ankle joints was making it really difficult. So one of the things I've come back from holiday absolutely committed to doing is focusing more on my health and well-being. So that's why this morning I've made it a priority to get out of the office, make the most of this beautiful sunshine, and come for a walk in the woods. Interestingly as well, one of the things that I realised was I haven't posted a video for a couple of weeks. I couldn't because I was away, we didn't have very good internet. But I got back last week and I knew I wanted to start making some videos again, and I was getting into the analysis paralysis trap, the fear of doing it not quite right. And I think this is quite an ADHD trait. I'm sure it's a trait, this perfectionism trait is a trait of lots of people, but it's certainly something that I've struggled with all of my life. Before I went away, I did loads and loads of YouTube videos, learning how to make YouTube videos, which isn't always a great idea, I think, because you can get trapped in this perfectionism. So I've been not putting off, but trying to get started on this video probably a dozen times. And I kept thinking, oh, it's not right, I don't know how to start it, I don't know how to end it, I don't have a structure for it. Everybody says I have to have a hook, I have to do it this way or that way. And I was getting myself wrapped up in knots. And in the end I thought, do you know what, just sit down and do the damn thing. So this is it, the damn thing is now done. So that's it, my ADHD diagnosis at the age of 56, 57. It's a week apart. I guess you could probably say it was age 57, and how I'm dealing with it. So I'd love to know, have you had a diagnosis recently? Were you diagnosed late in life? Have you chosen to go down the medication route? If so, what experiences have you had? I'm genuinely on a learning journey here, and any experiences that other people have had that they're willing to share will just help to inform me and help me to understand what's going on. So I'm going to leave you with some more beautiful images of our woods here in Bournemouth. I hope you enjoyed that trip around Bourne Woods as much as I did. If you've enjoyed this video, give it a subscribe. I would love you to do that. And if you want to give it a like, if you did enjoy it, that really does help with the algorithm. Still quite a new channel, very new really, so any likes will be helpful. And if you fancy getting notified about future videos, and I will be trying to post once a week or so, but hey, who knows, no pressure. They'll be fairly frequent, no promises, but they will be fairly frequent. I'd love you to join me, so hit the bell button and you'll get notified so you don't miss any videos. Talk to you next time. Take care.